Please subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. Your support helps these stories reach more hearts, and what you're about to hear will stay with you long after it ends. My wife's brother kidnapped my daughter from school on a windy October afternoon in northern Italy, when the plane trees along the streets were shedding yellow leaves and the sky looked like it couldn't decide whether to cry or stay cold and silent. The text arrived while I was in a meeting. "You'll never find..." It cut off there, like he enjoyed the pause more than the threat. I ran. By the time I reached the school, police were already there, teachers crying, my daughter's backpack lying on the steps like something that had been shed by a frightened animal. My wife, Elena, arrived minutes later, breathless, her face drained of color. "It must be a mistake," she kept saying. "Marco would never. He would never." But Marco had always been the kind of man who confused entitlement with affection and anger with honesty. He'd borrowed money from everyone, lost every job he'd been given, and blamed the world for the consequences of his own choices. And I had been the one who finally said no. 3 weeks earlier, he came to our apartment, drunk, asking for another loan. "I have a daughter," I told him. "I can't keep fixing your messes." He smiled like I had insulted him in public. "You think you're better than me now?" he asked. I thought of that smile as I stood in the schoolyard, my phone vibrating again. "Follow instructions. Don't involve police." I showed the message to the officer anyway. "Let us handle this," he said gently. But I knew Marco. He thrived on chaos. He wanted control, and he wanted revenge for every boundary anyone ever set. The instructions came in fragments. "Pay attention to the news. Wait. Be patient." Elena was unraveling, blaming herself, blaming me, blaming everyone and no one. "He's my brother," she sobbed. "If I had talked to him, if I had helped him, he did this," I said. "Not you, not me. Him." But I could see the war in her eyes. Loyalty to blood versus love for our child. And that war would cost us everything. 2 days passed. No proof of life. Only messages that grew more taunting, more theatrical. Then a photo arrived. My daughter Sophia, sitting on a mattress in a dim room, clutching her jacket, her eyes red but dry, trying to be brave. Something in me went quiet and sharp. I contacted someone I hadn't spoken to in years. Marco's former business partner, Luca, who'd gone to prison for a fraud Marco had quietly escaped. "He always keeps a backup place," Luca said. "Somewhere he thinks no one knows." He gave me an address near the old industrial outskirts, where abandoned factories rusted beside canals that no one cleaned anymore. I didn't tell Elena. Not yet. I went there with the police, but Marco was gone. He was always 2 steps ahead, always leaving just enough hope to keep us chasing. That night, Elena confessed something that split what little stability we had left. "He called me," she said, staring at the kitchen floor. "Before he took her." My hands trembled. "And you didn't tell me?" "He said he just wanted to see Sophia. He said he missed her." I didn't think. "You gave him access," I whispered. Her silence was my answer. From that moment, revenge stopped being about anger and became about reckoning. I stopped reacting and started planning. Marco wanted money, but more than that, he wanted validation. He wanted to prove he still mattered, that he could still pull strings, still make people move when he snapped his fingers. So I let him think he was winning. I replied to his messages. I asked what he wanted. I apologized for humiliating him by refusing help. I told him I was ready to do anything. He sent a location for a meeting, but I knew better than to trust it. Instead, I used what I knew about him. His habits, his ego, his need to show off. Through Luca, I leaked word that I was selling some of my shares in the small logistics company I worked for, that I needed quick cash, that I was desperate. Marco couldn't resist an opportunity to be the one with power again. He contacted me directly. "Bring the money," he said. "Then you get your daughter." "Let me hear her voice," I said. He hesitated, then handed the phone to Sophia. "Papa," she whispered, trying to be strong. I promised her I was coming, and I meant it, but not the way Marco expected. The police tracked the signal while I kept him talking. He loved to talk when he felt in control. Loved to remind me how small I was, how he had always been the bold one, the risk-taker. "You married my sister and thought you were safe," he said. "You forgot who I am." "No," I replied. I remembered. That's why I'm not afraid of you anymore. When they found him, he tried to run. He always ran when things stopped going his way. Sophia was rescued unharmed, but the damage didn't end there. The investigation uncovered more than just kidnapping. Marco had been involved in stolen goods, fake documents, things he'd dragged other people into without care. He went to prison for a long time this time. Elena visited him. I didn't stop her, but I saw how she avoided my eyes when she came back, how guilt clung to her like smoke. You still defend him, I said one night. He's my brother, she replied weakly. And she's your daughter. That was the moment something broke beyond repair. We separated quietly, painfully, like people who still loved each other, but could no longer share the same truth. Sophia stayed with me. We moved closer to the sea, where the air is salty and the wind carries stories of ships and departures. She started a new school, made new friends, learned that not every goodbye is permanent. Sometimes she still wakes from nightmares, asking if her uncle will come back. I tell her no. I tell her she is safe. But the truth is, I don't trust blood just because it shares a name. Months later, Marco sent me a letter from prison. It wasn't an apology. It was blame. He said I ruined his life, said I turned his sister against him, said I should have helped him when he asked. I folded the letter and put it away. Revenge didn't look like shouting or fists or dramatic confrontations. It looked like refusing to rescue him from himself ever again. It looked like choosing my daughter over a family that had taught him he was never responsible for his own actions. And sometimes, late at night, when the sea is loud and the sky is full of moving clouds, I wonder if Elena will ever forgive me for not forgiving him. But then I hear Sophia laugh in her sleep, safe in the next room, and I know exactly what I would choose again. Because some people don't need another chance. They need consequences. And some fathers don't need approval. They need to protect what matters, even if it means burning bridges that were never truly safe to cross.